Welcome to Sato Career 2.0 online nursing channel. We are helping all those who are preparing for the AIMS NORCET exam 2020 by organizing model test. So in this video we are going to see the answer key for model test 4.0. Every model test will have 100 questions and you can join the model test in free of cost. I will give the WhatsApp number. You can send request with your name and place. We will add you in our model test preparation group. So let's see the answer for the 4.0 model test. The first question, healthcare provider orders ferrous sulfate 325 milligram by mouth daily for a 6 week whose HB level was 8.6 milligram per deciliter. What should the nurse include in her health talk? Option A, advise the patient that iron supplement should be taken with glass of milk. Option B, advise the patient that iron supplements may cause diarrhea and light brown stools. Option C, advise the patient to take iron supplements with orange juice. Option D, advise the patient to take iron supplements at the same time as calcium supplements daily. So when the client having low HB level, the ferrous sulfate is ordered 325 milligram. So the nurse should include which of the following statement in her health talk. The right answer, option C, advise the patient to take iron supplements with orange juice. The rationale, so taking iron supplements with orange juice helps in increasing its absorption. Now let's see the question number 2. When caring for a patient with chronic kidney disease who receives hemodialysis, the routine daily laboratory studies reveals a potassium level of 5.2 milliequivalent per liter. The nurse knows that the patient is at risk for which of the following? Option A, auditory hallucination. B, increased appetite and dysphagia. Option C, bradycardia and ventricular fibrillation. And option D, hypersensitivity of hands and feet. So in a chronic kidney disease patient who is receiving hemodialysis, the routine laboratory investigation says the potassium level is 5.2 milliequivalent per liter. So what risk the patient is having? The right answer, let's see. Option C, bradycardia and ventricular fibrillation. The rationale, those who have hyperkalemia may exhibit bradycardia with widened QRS waveform and EKG may shows the development features of ventricular fibrillation. Now let's see the third question. While caring for a male patient with sepsis, he weighs 90 kg and his urine output has been 175 ml over 6 hours. The nurse suspects acute kidney injury when the creatinine level is option A 1.9 milligram per deciliter, B 0.2 milligram per deciliter, option C 0.9 milligram per deciliter and D 1.2 milligram per deciliter. So in this case, the patient who is suspected for acute kidney injury, when he is weighed 90 kilogram and he is a male patient and he is having the treatment for sepsis and urine output is 175 ml only for more than 6 hours, how we can identify that acute kidney injury has occurred? The right answer, the creatinine level shows there is some damage to the kidney. So 1.9 milligram per deciliter is indicate of a renal failure. So basically in acute kidney injury, which is characterized by the abrupt loss of kidney function resulting in the retention of urea and other nitrogenous based products that may cause dysregulation of extracellular fluid and electrolytes. Hope you understood. Now we move on to the fourth question. Which medication should be avoided by a patient with chronic kidney disease? Option A, antacids, B, diuretics, C, antidepressants, and D, vitamin C. So a chronic kidney disease patient should avoid taking option A, antacids. Antacids with bicarbonate should not be taken regularly because they can cause increased sodium level. Increase in sodium level will damage the kidney further. Question number 5. Which of the following patient is at high risk for respiratory acidosis? Option A, a client with diabetic ketoacidosis. Option B, a client with morphine who is having decreased respiration. Option C, a client with orthostatic hypotension. Option D, a client with stage 3 chronic kidney disease. So among the four clients, who is having the high risk for developing respiratory acidosis? So very simple, the client who is having respiratory depression because of the morphine. So hypoventilation will retain the carbon dioxide that would normally be expired during respiration. The partial pressure of carbon dioxide will be elevated, which may cause respiratory acidosis. This is a rational. Now move on to question number 6. The nurse is assessing a patient after returning from surgery. After reviewing the patient's lab results, the nurse should notify the physician of option A, phosphorus 3.8 milligram per deciliter, potassium 3.6 milliequivalent per liter. Option C, sodium 146 milliequivalent per liter, magnesium 1.1 milliequivalent per liter. So in this case, when the client is coming from the surgery, the nurse reviews the lab result of the client, and the result which is identified abnormal should be informed to physician. So which is that lab report? The right answer is option D, magnesium level of 1.1 milliequivalent per liter. You have the normal range here. Sodium is in the normal range between 135 to 145. 146 milliequivalent per liter is not much higher. Potassium level 3.5 to 5.0, and magnesium 1.3 to 2.1 milliequivalent per liter. So there is a less magnesium level in the client electrolyte report, and phosphorus 3.4 to 5 milligram per deciliter. Now let's see the question number 7. A nurse finds that a patient was given 2000 ml of hypotonic fluid instead of the 2% hypertonic sodium chloride order. The reason that this is a concern is that administration of too much hypotonic fluid, it is not hypnotic fluid, that is hypotonic fluid, can result in which of the following? Option A, cellular edema. B, cellular dehydration. Option C, fluid volume overload. Option D, hypertension. So when you give excess amount of hypotonic fluid, that may leads to the problem cellular edema. So the rational administering too much hypotonic fluid, especially if a hypotonic fluid is indicated, will causes water intoxication and cellular edema. The hypotonic fluid creates a strong concentration gradient where there are now more solutes present inside the fluid, which will be occur in the cell than in the field of the vascular compartment. So the fluid from the vascular compartment moves into the cell. Towards the solute it will go. So that may cause imbalance, and this can cause the cells to swell up, which leads to edema, cellular edema. Very simple rationale. Now let's see the eighth question. The nurse is caring for a patient with severe liver disease. The patient becomes confused and combative. To assess for the presence of hepatic encephalopathy, the nurse would expect the physician to order a serum level of option A, ammonia, B, lactate, C, urea, D, uric acid. So here when the client is suspected for a severe liver disease, and who is having the symptoms of confusion, and who is going to comatose stage because of the suspected finding of hepatic encephalopathy, which laboratory report the nurse can order? The right answer is the nurse can expect the physician to order ammonia level. So ammonia is a byproduct of protein catabolism. It is normally converted into urea and excreted, but in liver disease, ammonia is not converted and serum level tends to rise. A rise in ammonia level is toxic to the brain and can cause encephalopathy. So this is very simple rationale here. Now let's see the ninth question. The nurse is caring for a patient with AIDS. The nurse should implement neutropenic precautions when the patient's neutrophil count is option A 1000 cubic millimeter, option B 11,000 cubic millimeter, option C 15,000 cubic millimeter, option D 3,000 cubic millimeter. So the neutropenic precaution for AIDS patient can be initiated if the patient's neutrophil count is 1000 cubic millimeter. Neutropenia, which is refers to the reduction in the blood neutrophil count less than 1000 cubic millimeter. A neutrophil count of less than 500 cubic millimeter indicates severe risk of infection. So when the neutrophil count is in the borderline of 1000 cubic millimeter, we can start the precautionary measures. Question number 10. A nurse on a medical unit is assigned patients with gastric lavage or prolonged vomiting. The nurse should assess for option A acidosis, B reduction in hemoglobin, option C alkalosis, option D loss of osmotic pressure. So here, because of gastric lavage and prolonged vomiting, the nurse should assess for the right answer is alkalosis. So gastric lavage and persistent vomiting causes removal of hydrochloric acid from the stomach, which may lead to metabolic alkalosis. The loss of hydrogen ion results in a rise in pH that is called alkalemia. Now let's see the question number 11. Net ATP molecule generated in the conversion of glucose to lactate are option A 0, B2, C3, D4. So net gain, the molecule of ATP generated in the conversion of glucose to lactate is option B. The two new ATP molecule is generated when the glucose is converted into lactate. The net energy gain in fermentation is 2 ATP molecule, glucose molecule in both lactic acid and alcoholic fermentation, either in the conversion of glucose or in the formation of lactic acid or in the fermentation of alcohol. There are 2 ATP molecules we are getting. Question number 12. Which microorganism is closely associated with dental caries in children? Option A Streptococcus sanguis, option B Corynebacterium species, option C Candida albicans, option D Urea species. So the microorganism which is responsible for dental caries in children is Streptococcus sanguis. The mouth contains a wide variety of oral bacteria, but only a few specific species of bacteria are believed to cause dental caries. One is Streptococcus mutans and another very common Lactobacillus species. Next question. Most probable diagnosis of the patient which you are seeing in the screen. Option A dwarfism, B Down syndrome, C gigantism, D Klinefelter syndrome. So this is very extraordinary case of gigantism. Very taller height they used to grow. Question number 14. This device is known as option A. Actually, option A, this is the another name. The question asks the another name of this device. Option A, Indo cap, B, Dutch cap, option C, round cap, option D, hollow cap, the diaphragm. So what is the alternative name to this? The right answer is Dutch cap. Option B, Dutch cap. Next question. Before seeing the question number 15, you can note down my WhatsApp number. Here you can send the request for joining the test series free of cost. Every 2 days once we used to organize online test for helping the aspirants to get success in the AIMS NORCET 2020 exams. Question number 15. Oral tetracycline is a drug of choice for option A. Glaucoma, B. Trachoma, C. Hodgkin's disease, option D. Hirsutism. So oral tetracycline is drug of choice for option B. Trachoma. The example, azithromycin is the drug of choice which comes under oral tetracycline. It is very easy to administer in a single oral dose. Question number 16. Serious danger associated with low birth weight baby. Option A, feeding problem. B, thermoregulation problem. C, hemorrhage. D, respiratory problems. So which of the following is serious problem in a low birth weight baby? The right answer, option D, respiratory problems. Breathing problems is more common in the low birth weight baby due to immature lungs. That is called infant respiratory distress syndrome. Question number 17. Elderly primigravida is best defined as option A woman who gets pregnant for the first time at age of 35 or more. Option B, a woman who gets pregnant for the first time at the age of 25 or more. Option C, a woman who gets pregnant for the first time at the age of 30. Option D, a woman who gets pregnant for the first time below 18 years. So best definition for elderly primigravida, option A woman who gets pregnant for the first time at the age of 35 or more. Question number 18. A 30-year-old manic patient was prescribed haloperidol 1 week back. For the last 2 days, he has become restless and kept pacing in the room for a day. On examination, he was found to have tremors of hand. He is most likely suffering from option A, dystonia, B, restless leg syndrome, C, akathisia, D, anhedonia. So the side effect of haloperidol is akathisia, one of the extrapyramidal side effects. A feeling of muscle querying, restlessness, inability to sit still, sometimes side effect of antipsychotic drugs are also included as a side effect of antidepressant medications. Question number 19, another image based question. What is this diagnosis? This diagnosis, option A, gynecomastia, B, amastia, C, macromastia, D, polymastia. So the diagnosis is option D, polymastia. There are more than two breasts. Question number 20. Normal pH of gastric hydrochloric acid is option A 3.5 to 5.5, B 5.5 to 6.5, option C 1.5 to 3.5, option D 0.2 to 1.5. The normal gastric content pH, option option C 1.5 to 3.5, option C 1.5 to 3.5. Question number 21. Drugs which is used in relieving the symptoms of Meniere's disease includes all except option A, diuretics, B, antiemetics, C, diazepam, D, atropine. So which drug is not a part of Meniere's disease management? The right answer is option D, atropine is not a treatment part in patient with Meniere's disease. All other drugs are given for treatment of Meniere's disease. Question number 22. Breath sounds auscultated posteriorly between the scapula and anteriorly over bronchioles, lateral to the sternum over the first and second intercostal space is called option A, tracheal, B, bronchial, C, branchiovesicular, option D, vesicular. The right answer is option C, branchiovesicular sound. Branchiovesicular sounds are heard in the posterior chest between the scapula and in the center part of the anterior chest. So branchiovesicular sounds are softer than the brachial sounds and it has a good tubular quality. Question number 23. In crowd, humidified oxygen is given to option A to decrease the tissue inflammation and edema, option B maintain the moist mucosa, option C provide an environmental free from pathogenic organisms, option D provide mode for giving inhaled drugs. So the right answer here, the humidified oxygen is given to decrease the tissue inflammation and edema. So that will give a cool, moist environment which assists in the inflammation reduction and tissue edema. Question number 24. With the ordinary stethoscope, the fetal heart sounds can be detected earliest between dash weeks of pregnancy. Option A 6 to 8, B 18 to 20 weeks of pregnancy, option C 24 to 36 weeks of pregnancy, option D 8 to 10 weeks of pregnancy. So with the help of ordinary stethoscope, we can auscultate the fetal heart sounds. So during the period of option A 6 to 8 weeks of pregnancy. The rational in ordinary stethoscope, the fetal heart sounds can be detected earliest at the 18 to 20 seconds in that particular period. Through the fetal Doppler like ultrasound, the fetal heart should be audible 95% of the time in the 12th week of pregnancies, and earlier like 100% of the time we can auscultate at the 14th weeks of pregnancy. Now question number 25, another image based question. Name the instrument in this image. Option A Hohmann retractor, B Morris retractor, C bone pouch, D Squat's tonometer. Squat's tonometer. The right answer is a tonometer. Squat's tonometer, which is used for measuring the intraocular pressure. Question number 26. Nurse Maria is administering a cleansing enema to a client with severe constipation. She will place the client in which position? Option A low Fowler's position, B high Fowler's position, C left Sims position, option D right Sims position. So for this client who wants to who is having constipation, when you give the cleansing enema, position in the left Sims position. The Sims position is named after the gynecologist J. Marion Sim. It is usually used for the rectal examination, treatments and enemas. It is performed by having a patient lie on their left side, left hip and low extremity straight, and right hip and knee bent. It is also called internal recumbent position. 27. Match the correct. Here you are seeing the aims located in different parts of India and their directors. All three options are matched correctly except one. Find out that. Option A AIMS Raipur, the director is Dr. Nitin M. Nagarkar. Option B AIMS Nagpur, the director is Dr. Vibha Datta. Option C AIMS Raebareli, the director is Dr. Dinesh Kumar Singh. Option D AIMS Patna, the director is Dr. Prabhat Kumar Singh. So here one aims and its director is not matched correctly. We need to identify that. Option C aims Raebareli, Dr. Dinesh Kumar Singh is the wrong answer. Aims Raebareli, the director is Aravind Rajvanshi, Dr. Aravind Rajvanshi. In aims Batinda, Punjab, Dinesh Kumar Singh, Dr. Dinesh Kumar Singh is the director. Question number 28. A client is receiving a continuous infusion of streptokinase, Streptix. The client suddenly complains of a difficulty of breathing, itchiness and nausea. Which of the following should be the priority action to the nurse? Option A. Stop the infusion and notify the physician. Option B. Administer antihistamines and continue the infusion. Option C, slow the infusion and administer oxygen. Option D, none of the above. So the very simple, when there is side effects, we need to stop the infusion and we need to notify the physician. Because of the allergic reaction, it needs immediate discontinuation and physician should be reported immediately. In such case, the physician will prescribe for adrenergic antihistamine drug and also corticosteroid agents are ordered by the physician to treat these adverse effects. Question number 29. This image displays which equipment? Option A, sputum trap. B, vacuum tighter. Option C, plastic test tube. Option D, tourniquet. The right answer, this is a vacuum tighter used in collection of blood samples. Vacuum tighter. Question number 30. What is the therapeutic digoxin rate? Option A 0.25 to 0.5 nanogram per ml. Option B 1.5 to 3 nanogram per ml. Option C 3.5 to 4.5 nanogram per ml. Option D 0.5 to 2 nanogram per ml. The right answer is 0.5 to 2 nanogram per ml is the therapeutic level of digoxin. Question number 31. In this image, you are seeing the healthcare provider is doing some assessment with some instrument. What is the name of that? Option A, otoscope. B, ophthalmoscope. C, pinhole occluder. Option D, tonometer. So this is ophthalmoscope is the right answer. Question number 32. A client is about to receive a metallozone. The nurse in charge understands that which of the following laboratory results are related to the administration of the medication. Option A, hyperkalemia and hypocalcemia. Option B, hyperkalemia and hypoglycemia. Option C, hypouricemia and hypoglycemia. Option D, hypokalemia and hyperglycemia. So, in order to be aware about the problems which can occur when you are administering the metallozone, the nurse must be very careful that, sorry, the nurse should be very careful and nurse should understood the patient can develop hypokalemia and hyperglycemia because it is a metallozone is a thiazide diuretic that may put the client in risk of hypokalemia, hyperglycemia, hyperlipidemia, hypercalcemia and hyperuricemia. So these laboratory profiles should be monitored when the client is on thiazide diuretics. Question number 33. During the first 24 hours of thrombolytic therapy for ischemic stroke, the primary goal is to control option A blood pressure, B respiration, C pulse, option D temperature. So in the first 24 hour when the client is in thrombolytic therapy for ischemic stroke, the primary goal is to monitor the blood pressure. Blood pressure control is considered very essential in the stroke patient who is on treatment with thrombolytic therapy. Other vital signs are also important, but the priority goes for blood pressure monitoring only. Question number 34. Which of the following is a contraindicated in the patient with increased intracranial pressure? Option A, lumbar puncture. Option B, mannitol. C, anticonvulsants. D, Fowler's position. So when the client is having increased intracranial pressure, the contraindicated measure is to perform lumbar puncture. Lumbar puncture is contraindicated in increased intracranial pressure because the rapid decrease in the pressure in the cerebrospinal fluid around the spinal cord can lead to brain herniation. Mannitol, anticonvulsants are available treatment options in the increased intracranial pressure patients. Question number 25. Pineal gland is responsible for regulating which rhythm? Option A, diurnal rhythm, B, ultradian rhythm, C, circadian rhythm, option D, infradian rhythm. The gland, pineal gland, which is regulating which of the following rhythm in our body, mainly it is regulating the circadian rhythm. So pineal gland secretes melatonin, which is a hormone that helps to regulate the circadian rhythm. That is very important. Melatonin is producing sleep, and it is produced according to the amount of light when a person is exposed to, and the pineal gland releases the greater amount of melatonin when it is dark, which points to melatonin's role in the sleep. Serotonin for awareness. Question number 36. A nurse is monitoring a client who is taking digoxin, lanoxin, all of the all of which are the side effects associated with this medication except option A, tremor, B, diarrhea, C, anorexia, D, blurred vision. So digoxin can induce all the side effects except one, that is tremors. Signs of digoxin toxicity are as follows: anorexia, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, and blurred vision. Tremor is not the side effect of digoxin toxicity. Question number 37. Which among the following is the most appropriate method for oxygen delivery in COPD patient? Option A, aerosol mask, B, face tent, C, nasal mask, and D, venturi mask. So for COPD patient, the best method to deliver oxygen is through venturi mask. A venturi mask mixes oxygen with room air, creating a high flow enriched oxygen of a desired concentration. The venturi mask is often utilized in the COPD patient population where the risk of knocking out of the patient's hypoxia derived is of big concern. Question number 38. This symbol indicates option A, COVID-19 waste, option B, cytotoxic waste, C, cryotherapy, option D, counseling unit. So this is the symbol which represents cytotoxic waste. Question number 39. Rotation sites for insulin injection should be separated from one another by 2.5 centimeter, that is 1 inch, and should be used only every option A, third day, B, every other day, C, 1 to 2 weeks, option D, 2 to 4 weeks. So the right answer here, option C, 1 to 2 weeks. Rotation of sites for insulin injection should be done every week or two. Frequently using the same spot over time can cause fat cells to break down or build up, that is lipodystrophy, causing lumps under the skin and may interfere with the insulin absorption. Question number 40. In hypovolemic shock, which position is given to the patient? Option A, reverse front lumbar, B, front lumbar, C, left lateral, D, supine position. The right answer, we give Trunlenberg position. The Trunlenberg position involves placing the patient head down and elevating the feet. Trunlenberg position is used as a first line treatment for patients with hypovolemic shock. This position increases the venous return to heart, increases the cardiac output, and improves the tissue perfusion. Move on to 41. A client is diagnosed with Parkinson's disease and asks the nurse about the disease pathology. What should be the nurse's response? Option A, demyelination of neuron causes Parkinson's disease. Option B, degeneration of the neurons of the basal ganglia results in Parkinson's disease. Option C, the destruction of acetylcholine receptors at the postsynaptic site can cause Parkinson's disease. Option D, all the above. The best response the nurse should give for this client to explain the pathology of Parkinson's disease is option B, the degeneration of the neurons in the basal ganglia. So Parkinson's disease is a degenerative disease caused by the depletion of dopamine producing neuron in the substantia nigra. Question number 42. Colors of amniotic fluids are correctly matched among the following except. So green color amniotic fluid indicates RH incompatibility, option A. Option B, the greenish yellow amniotic fluid indicates post maturity. Option C, the dark brown color amniotic fluid is indicating the intrauterine death. Dark color indicates a concealed accidental hemorrhage. So which color and the interpretation is not matched correctly? Option A, the green color. The green color indicates the meconium strain, but the golden color indicates RH incompatibility. Question number 43. In this image, what you are seeing? Option A, defibrillator. B, blood gas analyzer. Option C, ECG machine. Option D, hemodialyzer. The right answer is blood gas analyzer you are seeing in this image. Question number 44. If a newborn is failed to pass meconium within first 24 hours after birth, it may indicate which of the following? Option A, Hirschsprung disease. B, celiac disease. Option C, duodenal atresia. Option D, intussusception. The right answer, option A, Hirschsprung disease, a condition of the large intestine that cause difficulty in passing the stool. Question number 45. A child admitted to the emergency department with a history of ingesting a large amount of acetaminophen. For which of the following the nurse should assess? Option A, nausea. B, right upper quadrant pain. Option C, frequent urination. Option D, syncope. So in this case, the nurse should assess for when there is acetaminophen poisoning. The nurse should assess for the peculiar symptom of right upper quadrant pain. Because the liver is located in the right upper quadrant of the abdomen, a person may experience pain, swelling, and tenderness in that region. There are four distinct phases of Tylenol. These are the among the four. This is a very important symptom in the Tylenol-induced poisoning. Next question. The image shows option A, disposable cannula. B, disposable rice tube. C, disposable SpO2 sensors. Option D, disposable pulse oximeter. So this image tells you the option C, disposable SpO2 sensors. Question number 47, another image based question. The image which shows option A, monopolar cautery pencil. B, bipolar cautery pencil. C, diathermy machine. And D, cautery pen. The right answer is option D, it is a cautery pen. Question number 48. A client with myocardial infarction is developing cardiogenic shock. Because of the risk of myocardial ischemia, what condition should the nurse carefully assess the client for? Option A, ventricular dysarrhythmia. B, bradycardia. C, rising central venous pressure. Option B, rising diastolic blood pressure. So in myocardial infarction, client who is going to develop cardiogenic shock, who is at risk of myocardial ischemia, the nurse should be carefully assessed for the signs and symptoms of ventricular dysarrhythmia, which is the classic sign of cardiogenic shock, and it is related to the myocardial infarction and have the symptoms like low baby and tachycardia. Question number 49. How would you define the word acrocyanosis? Option A, transient mottling when infant is exposed to the temperature. Option B, cyanosis of hand and feet. Option C, fine downy hair. Option D, thin white mucus. So the word acrocyanosis is best defined as cyanosis of hands and feet. Acrocyanosis is a painless condition where the small blood vessel in your skin constrict, turning the color of your hand and the feet bluish. The blue color comes from the decrease in blood flow and oxygen moving through the narrowed vessels to your extremities. The 50th question. A client is receiving a blood transfusion following surgery. In the event of a transfusion reaction, any unused blood should be option A returned to the blood bank, options B sealed and discarded in a right bag, option C sealed and discarded in the shock container, option D flushed down the client's commode. The right answer, the unused blood should be returned back to the blood bank. That is the right answer here. So these are the first 50 questions which we have discussed in the AIMS NORCERT model exam 4.0. Tomorrow we will discuss in the next video we will discuss the another 50 questions in this test paper only. So to join our test series, please WhatsApp and send your name and place and request for joining in our WhatsApp group. Free of cost only. Use the opportunity to get success in the AIMS NORCERT exam and to test your knowledge. And part 2 answer key is coming soon in the next video. Don't miss that video. You can learn another 50 questions very easily with good rationals. And thanks for watching Sato Career 2.0 online nursing channel. Please subscribe now if you not yet subscribed. Like this video and comment about this video. Meet you again. Take care. Bye bye. Stay safe. Stay alert.